Welcome to CARDESIGN.ACADEMY. Today, I'm going to start designing my full-size truck interior concept. So, as you've seen before, I have a series of demos on the exterior of a full-size pickup truck. This would be battery electric powered, which I designed from a sketch demo I did last year. This was a sketch demo that got a lot of great feedback on YouTube and social media. And so I've created this project brief, which kind of pairs this vehicle up with a target user. In this case, it's an owner of a sustainable home building business who uses this vehicle for his not only hauling things to and from job sites, but basically operating his whole business. So this thing has to serve as a mobile office. It has to accommodate frequent overnight trips. So it's a place to work and it's a place to relax as needed. He cares a lot about sustainability. He cares a lot about displaying a sustainable image, and so a battery electric pickup is perfect for him. And then I have this image board which I put together, which kind of documents what I'm thinking in terms of colors, materials, textures, shapes, and forms. And the heat sink is something that is a theme that I like. I think there's a lot of beauty and precision in heat sink detailing, and then wrapping those details around forms and exposing some of those elements as part of the design. And then for the truck, I have some color and material studies which I feel sort of fit this buyer. There's a lot of earth materials, but a lot of precision at the same time. Natural fabrics, woods, but done in a way that's very robust and tough at the same time. So there's that, and then over here I have some quick layout sketches which I did, which show the different sort of driving modes. And so here we have the normal drive mode, which would be a conventional seating layout: the driver, passenger, and 3 rear passengers. Then there's the mobile office concept, and my thought here is to have the instrument panel come out as a desk, and then the driver's seat rotates, the center console rotates into a bit of a coffee table. So you have sort of this dual zone interior where you have a workspace and then a place to kind of sit and relax. So the back seat sort of becomes a sofa with a coffee table, and then for the occasional overnight trip, he can fold out into some kind of a bed. So then I did a little bit of more of a finished sketch, still a very quick sketch, but just documenting those two primary modes: the drive mode and the the mobile office mode. So I'm going to use these as inspiration for building this interior. And then these are just some quick sort of form study sketches that I did, which try to capture that heat sink detailing, overlapped with these sort of softer forms that would be very comfortable to the touch and maybe covered with natural materials. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. So you see I have the exterior here, and then I did this package model, which shows the battery pack under the floor and drive motors between the wheels on both axles, and then 5 occupants in a conventional driving position. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to make things a little bit quicker, is I'm gonna grab the I'm gonna go to my sketch layer, and I'm gonna grab the where is it? Okay, I'm gonna grab the I'm going to grab this layout sketch, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call that layout. So let's call that layout. Let's clear that. Okay, and I'm going to grab this and put it in there. And that way, I'm going to be able to I'll be able to make it transparent if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And I'm just going to go ahead and position that. Start with the normal drive mode. And I actually did this sketch over a screenshot of the package, so it should align very well. And I'm going to align it sort of at the belt line. Like that. Okay, so it's pretty well aligned. Then I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer. I'm going to start another layer. I'm going to call this the interior sketch. Or I'll call this interior. Actually, let's call this interior layout. Interior layout, and then we'll call this one layout sketch. Okay, and then just to make things a little easier to look at, I'm going to take my my exterior wireframe, and I'm just going to dim that down a bit. Okay. And I'm also going to take this layer with my occupants. I called it dudes, but I'm going to call this driving occupants. Okay. And I'm gonna also make my wheels and tires disappear. Turn off my wheels and tires just to make things easy to read. And I'm gonna turn off my sketches layer. Okay, so we have a nice clear picture of what's going on here. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my interior layout layer. And we're going to sketch this thing out. So I'm going to use my ink brush here, and I'm going to set it to planar. So turn on planar, and you can see it gives me a plane to work with. Now I want to take this plane and shift it up. So I'm going to grab my left trigger, and I'm going to very lightly pull the trigger and bring it up to the level of the belt line. And you can see the blue line is highlighted. That means it's aligned to, it's actually aligning to the X plane. Okay, my sketch is slightly out of sync, so I'm actually gonna drop the sketch a little bit, just so it's underneath, and we'll have like just a slight offset there. Okay, and then all right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start sketching out this instrument panel. And you can see the idea here is that this section of the instrument panel is going to slide back and cover up the steering wheel and reveal a nice work surface. So I'll go ahead and start sketching that out. And of course, we can tune all these lines as we go. So, and what's nice is when a line is on planar, it just stays on planar. So I'm just going to keep adjusting these lines until they're nice and perfect. And I'm going to adjust this one. So I'm doing this interior a little bit differently than I've done interiors before, in that I'm sketching out the main theme of the interior as a drawing first. And the reason why is because I'm going to show you later in the course, I'm going to show you some great techniques for sketching and rendering 2D images over Gravity Sketch. I'm just going to put a nice little radius corner here. Doesn't have to be too perfect, but we want to get it looking fairly precise. I'm just going to adjust this line here so it's more parallel. Soften up this corner here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this line and duplicate it because I want to have the same relationship here, but this one's going to go forward. Okay. Okay, the next thing I'm going to draw is this coffee table. And to do that, I'm going to turn on symmetry. I want this to be pretty symmetrical because it's gonna change in its orientation when we switch to the mobile office. Okay, and then I'm also going to I'm going to sketch out the bottoms of the seats. Now to do that, I'm going to have to turn off the occupants. And actually, I'm going to start back here. Just sketch out the bottom of a seat pan. Doesn't have to be perfect. Probably a little wider than it needs to be. But we're going to shift it into position. Actually, we're going to we're going to make it a little bit narrower here. So you can see the seat got split, but we're gonna put it back together by just duplicating it like this. Let's turn on our occupants again. We'll see how, yeah, so the seat's looking nice and wide. You can just shift it in a little bit. And then we can take these and duplicate them back this way. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to take these and drop them. So when you're drawing on a plane, you can actually start to drop these objects. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the one side, and we'll just work on the other side. Here, I'm going to turn the occupants into transparents, and we're going to turn off planar. So now we can move these points freely. I'm going to take this sketch plane and turn it this way, because I'm also going to draw a cross section of the seat. And you can see I'm using thick to thin lines to help define those contours. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and draw the back of the seat as well. I'm going to take all these points and make them a little bit slimmer. But I'm going to keep the back of the seat pretty deep. So okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these again. And I'm using my ink brush. I'm going to actually turn off planar now, so I'm going to be sketching freely. I'm going to take the line. I'm going to take the line thickness down a little bit here. This would be like a stitch line, but it gives you an impression of what the profile of the seat is doing. I'm also going to take the side of the seat bolster here and just bring that down, and I'm just going to tune this line a little bit in order to give it some depth. You can see I'm also tuning the line to get rid of any sort of weird undulations. And then I'm going to take this one and just thin it up a little bit. And I'll take that and duplicate it. You can see how very quickly I'm starting to get a nice three-dimensional read on this interior. Okay, I think okay. So now I'm gonna sketch out the back seat before I get too deep into the bolsters here. I'm gonna sketch out at least the pan of the back seat. So I'm gonna turn my planer setting back on, and I'm gonna turn my sketch plane back to the kind of near the belt line. And just sketch out this. Using a fairly thick line, thicker than that. We're going to tune this shape up, so I simplified the points. Now I'm also going to sketch out the bottom of the seat pan here. Okay, so now I'm going to temporarily turn off the layout sketch so we can see what we're doing here. And I've got the wireframe of the truck, the exterior, quite dimmed down here. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and start to build out the bottom of this seat. So I'm going to bring that down to where the rear occupant's rear end is. Bring it back a little bit. Looks like it's a little farther back than it should be. There. And I'm going to sketch out where the center line of each occupant is. And then I'm going to sketch the cross section of the back of the seat. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna move the sketch plane now to the center position and define the center section of that seat. I'm actually thinking that there's going to be a section that comes out from the middle. And then we'll just repeat this. Go ahead and bring this coffee table down to a nice comfortable height. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it could move forward and it could get a bit wider. This is a very wide vehicle. Okay, so let's keep working on this back seat. I'm going to take this off of planar, so I can now adjust the contours. And then I'm going to design the back of the seat. So I'm going to turn off planar again. Turn up my ink brush a little bit. So you can see that the seat is designed for 3 across, but you know it's sort of contoured for 2 people. Just trying to get everything nicely aligned. Okay, and I need to lean this seat way back. So this seat back can come down. We're going to put a generous headrest on here, so it's meeting all the requirements. But now you're really starting to read the contouring of those seats. I do think this forward section is going to have to get designed here. I'm just going to have this little extension here for the middle passenger. Okay, so I have a pretty good picture of the rear seats. Let's go ahead and do the backs of the front seats. So I'm just getting the basic shape the way I want it. Don't want these buckets to be too deep because this is a pickup truck. It's meant for comfort for long trips, not high-speed driving. So I'm going to pull this bolster back a little bit. Then I'm going to give it a nice stitch line. It kind of defines the boundary between the back of the seat and the bolster. You can see sometimes where there's a lump in the line, I just delete some extra points and the line starts to get a lot smoother. Then I can add additional points later to help redefine that line where I want it. So you can see very quickly, you can read quite a nice surface just through lines. It's just like drawing pencil on paper. I'm going to take this curve and just duplicate it to give a sense of thickness to the seat. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a headrest. So I'm going to turn on planer again. Put my my sketch plane back to where the center of the seat is. I'm just going to give it a nice separated headrest. And I'm going to put my sketch plane on the vertical. Actually, I'm going to make it non-planar again. And I'm just trying to align the sides of the headrest with the center line. That's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate all of these lines and send them over to the other side. And I'm also going to take, I see some issues here now that I've I just got to tune that a little bit. Okay, so close enough. I mean, this is just a sketch. Eventually, I'm going to surface this whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and take these headrests and repeat those, send them to the back. And then the center one gets a headrest as well. Just drop that one in the middle there. Cool. So now we have our seats. So what I'm going to do now is bring back our bring back the layout sketch, because now I want to create an outline representing the overall tub of the interior. So turn on planer again. I'm going to turn my plane back to where the sketch is. And I'm just going to follow the periphery of the belt line. Let's simplify it a bit. And I'm also looking at the actual belt line as it is in the wireframe. As you can see, there's quite a bit of space forward of the driver. And my thought there is to create some kind of a storage area ahead of the driver's feet. And then I'm going to take it off of planer. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to duplicate it and bring it down to the floor level. Align it with the battery. And I'm just going to shrink it a little bit, just so it kind of has a taper. I'll duplicate it again and make it kind of a door sill. So now you're starting to get a sense of the volume of the interior. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the layout sketch again. I'm also going to turn off planer on my ink brush. And I'm going to turn off my occupants. I don't think we need them at this point. So you can see I have a pretty good sense of what's going on with the interior already. Now I'm going to do some more work to define the height of this instrument panel. Oh yeah, and the other thing I wanted to do is take this belt line. I'm going to turn off planer, and I'm going to bring it up along the exterior belt line. And bring it just inboard of the exterior, so it starts to give once I put the full opacity back on the exterior wireframe, it'll start to match up. And just to give it a sense of thickness, I'm gonna duplicate it again. And give it a thinner line weight. And I'm going to sort of bevel it in a bit. So now it's starting to give the impression that there's a bit of thickness to that door panel. And I think I'm going to bring that table down just a little bit more to match the level of the belt line. So bring it all down. Maybe adjust this line. What I'm trying to do is get a nice match between the table and the actual belt line. There. Now I'm a little concerned that, if I turn on the mannequins, I'm a little concerned that this table is encroaching a bit too much on this mannequin here. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking all of this forward a little bit. Maybe even a step further. This is where sketching in Gravity Sketch really really helps to understand volumes, right? To understand spatial relationships. So now I'm going to go ahead and adjust this table to match the plan shape of the exterior. In fact, I'm wondering if we even need this thing at all. Let's just let this be simple. We'll bring this whole thing further forward. So if I go into the driver's position now, everything is starting to line up nicely. I'm thinking this could come up a little bit now and line up actually above the belt line. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I'm recording. Okay. That's looking pretty good. So one other thing I want to do is draw a section line. At the center plane to better define this tub. I'll make it a fairly thin line. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. So the next thing I'm going to do, so we're starting to have a pretty good idea of the general package and volume. So now I want to start to set up this second driving or this mobile office mode, right? Actually, one more thing I'd like to do, and that's to sketch out a steering wheel. So I'm going to put the center plane in the Y position, and it's not going to be a complete steering wheel. I just want it to be a quick representation of a steering wheel. So I just drew it kind of in a vertical orientation. And I'm trying to give it like, the kind of the span of the shoulders. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake mirrored and bring that. Actually, let's do this first. Let's duplicate it. Give it a sense of thickness. Okay. Maybe just a quick impression of a center hub. Okay, we're gonna turn off mirroring. Actually, we'll turn on mirrored and we'll bake it. Oh, that was weird. Okay, bake it. Okay. We'll get into this more later, but I'm just trying to give it a placeholder. Okay, I'm going to bake that. I'm going to bake that. And then I'm going to group all of this. So now I can slide it out and align it to the driver. maybe make it a little bigger. And we're going to give it a bit of a tilt there. Okay, so all right, so the next thing I want to do before I get too deep into the styling of the interior is to define this other mode here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do some layer jiggering here. So this is our interior layout. This is our okay, so this is our driving mode. We're going to call this driving mode. Driving mode, okay. And then I'm going to create another layer, which is called tub. Okay, we're gonna grab everything associated with the exterior and put it in this tub layer. Including this one. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer. Okay, and then this is driving mode. So everything else is in the driving mode. Okay, and then let's do here. Let me turn off my occupants, and let's take our back seat and put that in the tub because that's not going to change with the different configurations. So put that in the tub layer as well. So now all we have is this. Okay, so I've had a bit of time to go in and edit and update my truck interior concept, and I think I'm starting to get it looking pretty good in the driving mode. So now I'm going to start thinking about the mobile office mode. So I'm going to go into the mobile office layer, and well, just to explain a little bit what I'm trying to do. So the idea is that somehow the steering wheel folds away, and then this kind of dual tiered instrument panel, the bottom tier slides out like this and becomes the desk. So that's the basic idea. So I already started to lay it out in a mobile office layer. So I'm going to turn off the driving layer. Now I have my mobile office layer. So here you see the lower tier has slid out. You can see it goes in and out like that, and the steering wheel is somehow retracted. Now I'm thinking more and more that the steering wheel needs to be maybe in here somewhere. So we'll have to get into the steering wheel a bit more later. But then the next thing we're going to want to do is do something different with the front passenger seat, because we want to make that go away. So what I'm thinking there is that the back of the seat just kind of folds down like this and just sort of tucks away. So actually let's try doing that using the grid tool. So I can be a lot more precise. So I just kind of turn it this way. And then that whole thing would just kind of tuck away up front here. And that's part of what's great about having this whole footwell area opened up. So the idea here is that the floor has to ramp up to clear the drivetrain, but normally in a normal car the firewall would just come straight up like that. Here I'm opening this all up so we can stow that seat. And then you'll see that I've got the that center console has rotated and is now positioned as a bit of a coffee table. So let's just let's try putting this here. Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But okay, so let's now take the driver and we'll rotate him. We'll rotate him like the 45 degrees. So he's now here. Maybe shift him over just a little bit. And let's reposition his hands so he's maybe using a laptop. And then this guy back here, he'd probably be the same guy, but in a more relaxed, kind of a more relaxed lounge position. Bring that coffee table up a bit. Maybe it should be at the same level as the almost the same level as the desk. And then this guy doesn't quite look relaxed enough, so I'm going to bring him forward and just lean him back a little bit. Oop. There, let's... So it's a little more relaxed. So basically this front zone is the kind of productivity area, and then the rear zone is the relaxation area. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of things now to start to give some more. I'm going to start to fill in some of these surfaces so that we're not just seeing through everything. So I'm going to go and use some of the surfacing tools. I'm going to turn on bridge curves, and I'm going to turn the color to just a flat white, or maybe just a very light gray. And as I pull the triggers, I'm bridging these two curves together. Let's try changing the settings here. Full curve. Let's try that. There. See, that just fills it right in. Same thing up here. Now we kind of went overboard here, so we're going to turn on the control points. And I'm going to turn it to sub D and just get rid of that whole middle. Yeah, that whole middle section. Same thing here, turn it to sub D. Delete that middle section. So now we can look at this and it looks like part of the sketch, but in reality it's all filled in. So and then this one, yep, we'll just fill that in. And we'll also fill in we'll fill in the floor pan as well. We'll turn that to sub D, and we'll get rid of that extra row of polys there. So that fills in nicely. And then we can turn on mirroring. That fills that in. Fill that in. And that's not working out so well, so we'll delete that one for the time being. We'll keep the one for the floor. Now we'll just leave that be for now. Okay, so you know, just a few key surfaces. It just helps to make everything read kind of solid in some of those areas where you don't want to see through. So basically, we have a pretty good first sketch on the interior. You know, we're starting to get the concept figured out. You know, as I move forward, I'm going to go in and do a bit more, but you know, this is a great way to just quickly lay out, ideate, and draw the interior in 3D, and you can figure things out a lot quicker than you could in traditional sketching. So once again, we have our mobile office, we have our driving mode. So you can see here, I'm gonna drop this into the mobile office layer. And actually going back to the driving mode layer, I'm just going to add one more surface here. And select those points, turn it to sub D, and there, voila, we got a nice clean surface. Very cool. So yeah, very quickly. Oh yeah, and this one's got to go into the mobile lounge as well. Mobile office, and then we're gonna. All right, we're gonna bake this. Okay. There, perfect. So now we have our driving mode. And then we have our mobile office mode. Very cool. All right, thanks for watching. This has been a really cool demo, and I can't wait to see how this truck interior plays out. Later on, I'm going to get more into the styling of the interior, and I think you'll see some really interesting stuff emerge. So, thanks a lot. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next video.